I was talking with an elderly patient in the emergency department the other day, and she said, "I feel so sorry for your generation." I asked her why, and she said, "You're all just so busy all the time. It wasn't like that in my day. You worked when you worked, and then you were just with your family." While I can't go back in time and experience what life was like in her day, I do have an inkling she's probably right. Busyness seems to be the new norm for our generation. Productivity is our new religion. Time off work had better be amazing and splashed all over social media. When we meet up with friends, life updates normally start with the phrase, "Oh, I've been so busy." Why is this? And why do we find it so hard to relax? This is something I've been thinking about a lot over the past few years as I've transitioned out of being in constant survival mode. I didn't necessarily recognize this when it was happening, but I've been through several periods of burnout or near burnout. I would push myself to the extremes with long work hours, side hustles, a busy social calendar, poor sleep, and very little relaxation. I'd ignore the signs my mind and body were giving me that I needed to slow down, continuing on through a haze of cortisol and caffeine. But inevitably, burnout symptoms would creep up on me. Extreme tiredness, apathy, constant overwhelm, procrastination, and self doubt. Does any of this sound familiar to you? I would crash and burn, feeling like I just needed to cancel everything on my calendar for months on end and curl up in a cocoon and sleep for a decade. This cycle has repeated itself again and again through my life, and it's only in the past few years that I've realized that life does not have to be this way. The thing is, I know I'm not alone in this. So many of you have expressed the same cycles in your life, this low level, constant stress and feeling like we can't properly relax. Why is this? Well, I've boiled it down to the reasons that resonate with me, but I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below, and hit the thumbs up button if this is the kind of content you want to see more of. Number one, perfectionism. We have impossibly high standards for ourselves, and we beat ourselves up if we don't meet those standards. I think a lot of us in healthcare and medicine can relate to this. A lot of us are perfectionists. Medicine just seems to attract those kind of perfectionist personalities. Everything is about achievement, and there's always a feeling that you could just be doing more. I'm really trying hard to undo this perfectionist tendency in myself. It used to be the norm for me to write to-do lists that had like 28 hours worth of stuff on there, and I would work all day and try and tick all of those things off my to-do list, but then be annoyed at myself that I inevitably didn't manage to get them all done. I would only think about the stuff that I didn't do without being able to recognize what I had actually achieved. And this gave me the feeling that tomorrow I just need to wake up a bit earlier, work a bit harder, achieve more, stay up later. There is a real pressure to be constantly productive. Society and social media tells us these days we need to be productive 24/7 and that our worth is tied to our productivity. Ali Abdal, I'm looking at you. We see endless videos about how much people are getting done in a day whilst having slept for only a few hours the night before and not factoring in much relaxation time. And I'm guilty of this too. I look back at my old vlogs and I see so many of them that I'd mentioned that I'd only managed a few hours sleep that night, and then I was getting up and jam packing my day. This was in the times when I was working 48 hours a week and trying to fit as many things into my life as possible. I'm someone that likes to get the most out of life, but when I was working full time as a doctor, I felt like I was in survival mode most of the time. I was stressed. I struggled to relax properly, always feeling like I was on high alert and that I was struggling to get everything done that I needed to. When it came to time off, I felt like I always needed to be doing something. I just didn't give myself proper downtime to relax and recharge because I just didn't feel like I had time to. And I struggled to sleep because I was so stressed. This is a self-perpetuating cycle. It's something that I see in my coaching clients too, and I'm amazed at how many of us are going about our lives in this constant state of stress, being in survival mode. Secondly, people pleasing. Okay, this is a huge one and something that you may notice in your own life. I like to call myself a recovering people pleaser. Hands up if you're a people pleaser too. People pleasing has us believing that taking time for ourselves is somehow selfish and that we should always be doing something for somebody else, usually responses, obligations, helping other people. We struggle to give ourselves permission to relax. We always put other people's needs above our own, so we find it hard to say no to other people's requests for our time and our energy. I want you to remember that just because you don't have anything planned, it doesn't mean that your time is up for taking by someone else. My friend George is really good at this, and last year I invited her to a party, and her response was, "We've had a lot of things on socially recently, and I'm keeping that weekend to relax and recharge." Yes, George, we need more of this in our lives. Us people pleasers sometimes have a hard time noticing our own limits, emotionally and physically. We're so used to ignoring our own wants and needs and prioritizing everyone else that we ignore the signs that our mind and body are giving us that it's time to take some proper downtime, and we just keep pushing on. Number three, constant connectivity. We are in a world of constant connectivity. We have our phones with us pretty much 24/7, and it is the norm to be contacted at every hour of the day and to reply at any time. We have so many social connections these days, online and in real life. There's a WhatsApp group for every occasion. We get notifications from every app we use, every email, every social media update. Each time one of those goes off, it's a little distraction from whatever we're doing in the real world, making it harder for us to just be present and relax. I find those little distractions both stressful and somehow addictive. I find myself checking my phone for new notifications almost compulsively. And by the time we lay down in bed for the evening, we end up revenge procrastinating, doom scrolling on social media, numbing out because we haven't actually had time to properly relax and recharge our batteries. So we end up just scrolling on social media just to reclaim some of that time to ourselves. Our attachment to our phones has us blurring the lines between work and rest. We can check our work emails at 3 a.m. We can check our social media accounts while we're at work. We can be texting friends while we're at a family gathering. Not only this, but then there's also FOMO to contend with, fear of missing out. Social media has us seeing everyone else's highlight reel and making them seem like everyone is out doing something fun at any given time of the day. I don't know about you, but sometimes this can make me feel like I constantly need to be doing things, being productive, going and having fun all the time in my time off, forgetting that a lot of the time we just need to relax, but people aren't posting that on social media. So, Sarah, what is the solution to all of this? I hear you ask. Well, personally, I'm committed to decluttering my life from unnecessary busyness. I think that that lady that I spoke to in the emergency department is right. We are too busy all the time. I'm calling this unbusying my life. You might know that I left the traditional doctor training program to work as a locum doctor. So basically, I'm a freelance doctor these days, which gives me more control over my time and more freedom. This has been an active decision. It's been something that has taken a lot of mental energy to decide whether or not this was the right thing for me because it's very unconventional. I'm really going against the grain. But it means that I can prioritize sleep, rest, activities that recharge me during my downtime, and I am no longer in a constant state of stress and survival mode. I've also worked on shedding perfectionism and people pleasing tendencies, and this has had a huge impact on my stress levels. I resist the urge to be productive all the time, and I really do make time for what truly matters. I set firm boundaries around my time so that when I'm working, I work. When I'm exercising, I focus on exercise. When I'm with friends, I'm really present. If you resonate with any of this and you need some guidance, remember that I offer one-to-one coaching and I currently have 4 available slots until the end of the year. So I'll leave the details for that in the description below. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I really do love hearing from you. And if you enjoyed this video, then you're going to enjoy this one here where I share 30 pieces of advice that I wish I had known in my 20s. I will see you in the next video.